This is our webinar about on-site ideation, and we're excited to get started here. But before we begin, I just wanted to let you know how we're managing the time here. In a moment, I'll hand things over to Gianluca and Jorge, who will tell us about their adoption of the IdeaScale API and what field findings they had from their research. They're going to speak to you for about the next 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to allow about 10 minutes or so for questions. But I'll be monitoring the questions field here as we go. So if you'd have something that you'd like the presenter to respond to, I'll keep an eye on that and wait for a good point to ask and stop as we go. I also just wanted to let everyone know that we are recording this webinar, so it will be possible to access it after the event is over. We'll send out notice to everyone who registered with a link about where they can find it online. And of course, if you have any questions about IdeaScale or today's event, you can forward them to me. In the meantime, I'm going to hand things over to our PhD candidates, Gianluca and Jorge, who presented their findings earlier this year at the International Conference on Communities and Technology in Germany. So let me just hand the presenter capabilities over to them.
Okay. Hey, hello, Jessica.
Hello,
everyone.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So, hello, everyone. My name is Gianluca Schiavo, and here with me there is Jorge Salivar. We are two PhD candidates from the University of Trento, Italy, and we are going now to start to present our experience with Agora 2.0. It was an on-site public display where we deployed in a public space and where we used the IdeaScale API. So in recent years, the use of web-based platforms like IdeaScale, where people can share, vote, and comment on different ideas, has been proposed as a way of encouraging a more direct dialogue between citizens and public administrators. But focusing only on web-based devices, maybe it might probably not be enough because, there is a growing body of evidence that suggests that the most powerful applications in public deliberation try to merge online and face-to-face on-site interaction to expand also the potential users. Oops, sorry. Okay. For example, digital divide is a big limitation of web-based tools. For example, in Italy here, we have half of the Italian population that doesn't have a regular access to internet from their home. And this difference is even bigger if we consider senior citizens, the 10% of them has an internet access at home. So this means that on one hand, a certain population might be underrepresented on the web, such as less technical skilled citizens who are less familiar with the internet technologies. And on the other hand, a certain kind of citizens may be overrepresented in web-based participation systems. So we came out with Agora 2.0, that is a new participation systems that try to combine these two different points of access, with a website and an interactive public display. So an online access and an on-site access. So our system has been designed for allowing the citizens and the public administrators to post polls and gather opinions about local issues and themes that are relevant for the city. So now I leave the floor to Jorge, who will introduce and explain more about the systems.
So let's see more in details Agora, the tool that we implement for this work. Agora is composed of two equally relevant features. On one side, a system, an online system for voting ideas, and this system is based on IdeaScale. And on the other side, an interactive public display deployed in a public space relevant to the community. The aim of this design is to combine the advantages of of the online and the on-site technologies in one platform. In fact, both the online and the on-site devices share the same information. Both features are equally relevant to the final goal, to our final goal of reaching the widest audience as possible, as they are thought to address two different communities. One that prefers to be engaged online and one that prefers face-to-face interactions. Here we can see a screenshot of IdeaScale. As I said, the online part of the platform we implement is based on IdeaScale. And through IdeaScale, the public administration staff and the citizens also could post poll phrases as yes or no answer questions. Here we see a list of questions, each one having their own descriptions, and also the user can contribute to the platform by commenting or voting existing ideas. All the information generated here in the online part of the platform on IdeaScale is also available in the public display, making the content accessible to on-site users who otherwise would have not had the opportunity to view that content. The implementation of our tool started off with a field study in the city of Trento, where we collect photo logs and interviews to investigate current engagement practice around traditional public display used for community communication. The purpose of this was to inform the design of Agora and to identify a localization for the deployment. And later on, the display was deployed at the City of Trento's office for the relation with the public. This office is in charge of improving and simplifying communication between the citizens and the administrative staff. And it is situated in a central localization of the city. The display was deployed at the foyer just outside the office premises. Here we can see a screenshot of the public display interface. And as in the online part, the questions are displayed with background information or descriptions. The sidebar contains information about the project in the right hand. And at the bottom, there are instructions on how to vote and interact with the public display. The main technical requirement we faced up was to implement a feature for synchronizing both systems, the online IdeaScale and the on-site connected to the public display. That is to say, that all the ideas posted on IdeaScale should be displayed also in the public display. And in addition, the votes collected in IdeaScale had to be aggregated with the votes collected in the public display and vice versa. Basically, the architecture of Agora was divided in two parts. The upper part, a model which we can call public display, deals with the front end of the tool. Its main functionality is to process the input received at the public display and aware the backend about the action received. In addition, this module is in charge of formatting and arranging the information to be displayed in the public screen. The backend module was implemented the synchronization functionality that I mentioned before. Specifically, a key part of this model was the interaction with the API of IdeaScale. We use the API to fetch the information about the ideas and votes that we collect in the on-site online part of the platform in IdeaScale. In addition, this model merged the information coming from the public display with the information obtained from IdeaScale and save this merged information in a local database.
I have a quick question here. Just
We decided to make,
could you tell us what programming language this was written in?
yeah, it is written in Java, mainly in Java.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. We decided to make people interact with the public display using the buttons of a common mouse. Due to technical constraint and feasibility, the use of a touchscreen display was not possible. And using a mouse, we offer a basic and low entry barrier method of interaction with the public display. A mouse was fixed right next to the public screen, and the buttons were colored to match the possible choices on the screen and to make the voting task even easier. And the leftmost button, colored in green, was assigned to express agreement with the question. The rightmost one, colored in red, was used to indicate disagreement. And the middle button was used to skip the question.
Okay, now I will briefly explain our study and the main results of our research. So we conducted a field study to assess how regular citizens would interact and respond to the public display, to Aperture 2.0. So the system was deployed, Jorge said, at the foyer of this Office for the Relation with the Public of the City of Trento. And we agreed at the beginning with the office staff on publishing, well, initially just 5 ideas. So in this form of yes or no question. And these ideas were related to local civic issues, and they were posted both on site in the public and online. And so one question, for example, was, do you think that shops should remain open on Sunday? So they were very simple questions. And the display was deployed for 4 weeks in this location, and we collected systems logs, we collected field notes, and also interviews with both users and also people who were passive users, so the people who didn't interact with the display. So also to assess why they didn't do that. So the results, the main results were that we found that the passers-by, or the people who used the display, were mainly between 20 and 50 years old. And of the 1,000 citizens who visited the office that month, approximately 250 of them interacted with the screen, and we collected 219 votes. So we also interviewed some of these people to get some insight about the motivation and their experience with this kind of interactive public display. So what we found from our study was that the people, well, the main reasons to interact was, the first one was that people reported that they were motivated because they were attracted by the topic of the question that was displayed on the screen. So if the passers-by noticed the display, and then if they would approach the screen, read the questions, and then submit their vote, or more than one vote. So the topic was a very important element that attracted the attention of the users. And then we found also that people approached the display because they were attracted by the technology itself, and because they found also the system very accessible and easy to use. So in this way, using the mouse was, or this very simple way of interacting was a good choice, and encouraged the participation. And then we found that passers-by were also attracted by to the public display by the notice boards that we placed inside the office and around the display. Now, some consideration about the voting behavior. So we found that people mainly vote in groups in front of the display. So they approach the display not just individually, but also in groups. And they start to discuss about the questions that was displayed on the screen in groups. And then they voted say, improved. So we found this a very important thing and very interesting, because this behavior gains a particular importance in the context of civic participation and truly also sharing ideas, and it's harder to notice this kind of uh, social interaction in using web-based tools if not mediated by technology. Then we found that people tended to also to agree with the question display. So we found that we collected more voting than were agreeing with the questions, and but if we had a like kind of explanation of this, is because people voted with their feet, in the sense that when they disagree with the question, instead of pressing the red button and saying, oh no, I don't agree with this, they prefer just to skip the question or ignore the display. So in this sense, we found less negative votes and more positives. So from the lesson that we learned from our study was that the location is very important, and the location where you want to deploy the public display and the characteristics of the location are very important for having a successful participation. So we found that it's very important to consider many factors when choosing the location. Like, for example, is the screen visible? Can people access the screen? There is enough space to where the people can stay? Is the right tool in the right place? In the sense, there's a link between the information display and the community and the place. And then we found also that some citizens did not even look at the display. They were kind of blind to this screen. So, or also some of them, they believed that the screen was just a regular television and not an interacting device. So they didn't post their vote because they thought that it was just a regular screen. And this is a problem if you want to deploy some multi-touch screen that are like they look like a regular television, and you should provide a way to the people to say, no, it's not just a television, it's something more where you can interact with it. And then we found that other citizens prefer not to vote because they didn't believe that the administration would take their vote into consideration. So we found that we think that it's important to provide in the interface some content or some feedback to raise the expectation on a concrete response by the person who are behind the system and the administrator of the community. So concluding the impact on future work, so we saw some benefits with on-site public display. One of these is try to expand the audience and trying to close the digital divide. So the interactive display seemed a promising interface for including a broader portion of the population that might be or otherwise left out from the discussion. And so with public display or with on-site technology, you can include also people who are physically in the location and passersby and sporadic users. And so from our study, we found that the public display can trigger group discussion in front of the device, and yeah, and we think that is an important factor that can distinguish on-site technology from online website, where the communication is just mediated by the technology itself. And then we found that adopting a question format for our polls and providing a simple way of engaging people to using the display was successful. And finally, well, we believe that there is a great potential for technologies to engage communities and improve the dialogue between people and their representatives. So, in order to improve this potential, we should provide new services or extensions of existing services like IdeaScale not only in virtual space, but also in more physical places. Okay, so I think, well, yeah, this finished our presentation. And well, before the question, I just want to add that we are always looking for improving our system and also for testing Agora with different communities. So hopefully in the next month we will start another field study at the university campus here in Trento. But we are open to share our experience and also to get new collaboration. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you both. It was a great presentation. And so definitely if other people are interested in trying to see if they can adapt the Agora 2.0 format for their communities, you can contact Gianluca or myself afterwards and we'll see if there's a possible collaboration. In the meantime, it looks like we have a few questions coming in. It looks like the first one says, strikes me that public transport is an ideal location given there is a captive audience. Do you think that would be a good place to launch a on-site community?
Yeah, definitely. And using yeah, places like where public places where people can gather, like yeah, they can be really important for this kind of um, mm, technology. So try to, but again, it's important to consider other aspects of the education. So of course, it's important because you can find many people there, but again, the question should be targeted to that kind of communities. So is to consider different aspects, not just the location, but also the target communities.
Interesting. Did you use IdeaScale's upload vote function or did you use some other method of counting votes?
No, we just use the idea scale features for voting, the ones that are available on the website. Thumb up and thumb down.
And users didn't have to sign in with your system, right? It was all just under one profile, essentially.
Yeah, we had this kind of problem with the API because we couldn't have different users or registered user in the public display. So yeah, Order found a way. Well, we just use one user that were providing votes, and yeah, this is something that it could be improved, of course, in the future.
So the main pieces of information that are synchronized, like you showed us, are the ideas and the supporting information about the idea and the votes. But are there plans to include commenting in a future version? And would that be useful or
Yes,
would
of
that
course.
overcomplicate the system?
Yes, of course. Of course, we can include comments also, but we have to think how to allow the people in front of the public display to place a comment, because so far we just provide a mouse, so with a mouse will be impossible to add a comment, or
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, of
At
course,
least.
using multi-touch display, this could can allow people to type in any comments. But yeah, it's something that we can add.
How do you see the online community interacting with this offline community? Do you think they'll feed each other in terms of popularity or?
So, well, initially our goal of this in this project was trying to merge the online and the site communities. So trying to see also differences in how these two communities could vote. But in our study, we did not observe a very this kind of synergy between the two communities because the online community was not really active. And we think that this was because the online community was not really advertised. We couldn't advertise in online because we had some limitation provided by the city of Trento. And so we just advertised the online website and the online community in the local office and around the display. So we didn't find a very high participation in the online community. So, and this is why, but it's something that definitely would be a very important things to explore if we can have also an active on-site online community and not just a very active on-site community.
One question coming in is what is the commercial status of this research?
Well, this study was just run at university, so we didn't think about any business-related opportunities. It was something that we did with the city of Trento, and so it was just exploratory and for research purpose.
And something that you're eager to replicate, I'd imagine, too, for future studies.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, to expand.
Well, I think that's the end of the questions I have in my feed here. Let's give anybody else another chance to add anything else they might like. But I want to thank both of you for coming in and sharing your findings. It was definitely very interesting, and I think it's going to be a great use case for other on-site displays in the future. So thank you both very much for joining.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
And if anybody has any questions for me or for our presenters afterwards, please feel free to send them along to jessica.day@ideascale.com. We'll be following up with the video of this shortly, and everybody have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.